Old Dads is a pretty enjoyable film. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Bill Burr and written by Burr and Ben Tischler. And we have a cast including Bill Burr, Bonnie Cannavale, Bokeem Woodbine, and I apologise if I've mispronounced any of those names. And the narrative I rather enjoy. It's about three parents. Well, three people who weren't parents who then become fathers later in life. And it's all about them trying to navigate parenthood while being an older parent, navigating schooling that is maybe slightly different to what it would have been had they had children, say, 20 years ago, and navigating employment in a world where their bosses and employees are all quite a bit younger. And I guess I want to use the word hip here and a lot more laid back with the way they do things. Again, different to how things used to be. And it's all about these three friends trying to navigate this world of new parenthood, but not just being new parents, but in a world where things definitely seem to be developed for the younger generations. And I rather liked it as a concept. I thought it worked really well. I thought the characters were really well written, and there's only one teeny tiny thing that I didn't like. But I'll mention that at the end. It's such a small thing. It's not really about my enjoyment of the film, but I will mention it at the end as a tiny spoiler for something that happens. The characters are well written. They're really likable. I think my favourite character was Jack, played by Bill Burr. I particularly enjoyed following his story. I thought he was really interesting. The performances are great. The comedy works really well. I think it's a really entertaining narrative, very, very well executed. There were times when it maybe wasn't quite as interesting, by which I mean it wasn't completely steady with the enjoyment, but when it dipped, it never dipped dramatically. It was just a little bit here and there where I was thinking this could maybe be a little more entertaining. Maybe we could have removed a few of those scenes here and there, because it is, for a comedy, it's quite long. It's about 1 hour and 40 minutes, which in itself is not tremendously long, but comedies generally sit at about around 1 hour 25, 1 hour 30. And I would be honest and say that actually, yeah, we could probably have removed about 15 minutes here and there without actually losing anything. But as I said, when it dips, it's not very dramatic, so I don't mind it too much. Nice narrative. I think it has a lot to say about not just being a parent later in life, but also doing so in a world where younger generations are doing things a little bit different to perhaps what you might have expected and what you're used to. The characters are well written, the performances are very good, and in general, I rather liked it. The only thing, and it's such a teeny tiny thing, and this is a spoiler for something that happens, it doesn't spoil the narrative, but it's a spoiler for, I guess, what could have been funny, but I didn't find it funny. And one of the fathers is at this nursery school with his son, and he says the C word, which in itself, yeah, was quite shocking. It was an interesting moment. But then the son turned around and said, "What's a C word?" And I'm not going to say it on YouTube, of course. And I don't like the fact that the child said that. I will be honest, the child had his back turned. I didn't see his mouth. They could have done it in post somehow. I don't know. I didn't see the words actually coming out of the child's mouth. So if somebody wants to tell me actually the child actor said that word, I would be very happy about that. And maybe that's the reason why we didn't see it coming out of his mouth. I might very well believe that. But if the child did say it, I don't agree with it. I don't have a problem. First of all, I don't have a problem with the C word. I could not care less at all. I've said it before. Somebody can say it to me. I don't care. But for children, not a fan. I don't mind children swearing in films when it's part of the dialogue, but that's a little bit too far for my liking. But again, we don't actually see it coming out of the child's mouth, so maybe it was done in post. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. Either way, that aside, Old Dads is ultimately an enjoyable film, great narrative, and if you're in the mood for something with some pretty decent characters, good performances, and a well-executed narrative, I'd say Old Dads is worth watching.